Hello, audience. Hello, everyone. I hope you're doing great. Yeah, everybody join the talk show. Yeah, everybody join. Okay. So welcome. Welcome to Council India. Welcome to the Mental Health Talk Show. I'm your host. I'm your dost. My name is Bobby Thakur. And today in this particular mental health talk show, we're going to discuss a very important topic: new age parenting. And the purpose of this talk show is to let you aware with the different mental health scenarios, with the different techniques, tools, with the different new things which are coming up nowadays in psychology. And also to introduce you with the expert who is already working in the industry, and that expert is really doing amazing work. So it should be rewarded. So with this intention, we generally do these talk shows. So to proceed further for this topic, I would like to invite on our platform to our mental health professional named Surabhi Talesara. She is a psychologist and giving her services from last 24 years in the same industry. So I'm sure that she has done a lot for the people. So let's listen from her, let's learn from her, let's know how she did whatever she did. Surabhi Talesara.
Hello, everybody, and thank you, Bobby, for giving me this opportunity to meet the Council India platform and all the community, as well as other people who are joining us today.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So, ma'am, how are you today?
I'm doing good, excited to meet everybody and share some ideas. Yeah.
Perfect, perfect. So, before moving to the technical questions, I would like to know your short story, like why you are in this industry, why you have chosen this
Yes.
industry.
थैंक यू जब आप ये क्वेश्चन पूछ रहे हैं तो मुझे भी प्रॉम्प्ट हो रहा है कि थोड़ी सी पिछले सालों की जर्नी याद करूं as far as I remember as a child, I was very deeply interested and fascinated about relationships. And what I'm reminded of as a young Surabhi myself was a child who was did not have the emotional tools to meet friendships, to create, meet stressors of life, school, standing up for myself, or creating, opportunities. Even simple things like talking to a teacher with confidence, asking for clarifications, taking my school bus. So that is the little girl that I remember that persisted for a long time. And the pretend play and the imaginary play that I did as a young girl usually had myself as this very emotionally strong person who knew how to meet challenges and who was meeting life with courage and confidence. And that was my pretend play, and that was the character that I played. So as life unfolded, I became more and more interested and fascinated about people. At that time, psychologists were not a thing in India so much, but there were family in the US, and I used to be fascinated about learning, reading memoirs a lot of how people face lives, and there are the characters that I associated with through Hindi novels as well as English readings. And when I first got the opportunity to look at, there was a novel that was about a child with a mental health issue and how they explored that, was very powerful for me. And I had a family member who worked in the Spastic Society of India, who always encouraged me to be my, bring out my brave and confident self. So the journey began very, very early. Yes, and little more piece to that was that every time there was a transition in life, such as high school में क्या subject लेना है या college में कहाँ पढ़ना है, मैं उदयपुर में बड़ी हुई, तो बड़े शहर में जाना या दिल्ली में पढ़ने जाना या US में पढ़ने जाना, the choices I made were all out of fear. I was not willing to leave my town, my family, my parents. And so when I got married and I came to the US, becoming new parents, I wish I had tools to face those transitions in life. And that is what I want to bring to all the people of all ages, better tools to meet life's demands.
Perfect.
That's my little story.
Really nice.
Yes.
Sounds really nice. So you're sitting in US and you are talking to help people who are there in India.
Yes.
Perfect. Sounds good.
I'm so excited.
Okay, great. So being a therapist, right? What do you think? Who is a therapist? And if anybody want to become a therapist, like what are the skill set, what kind of mindset a person must have in them? So who is a therapist to you?
So how I approach my vision of a therapist is someone who is supporting people and families create positive changes in their life that are sustainable so that they can live a very meaningful and effortless life, joyous life, which has from a deeper space of understanding and inner well-being. So change is actually the crux of the work I look at from a therapist's perspective. Mm-hmm. And the other word that guides my work or a work of a therapist would be choose. Mm-hmm. My client is in the driver's seat. They are the agents of change. So change and choose. Change is how I look at it through therapy or in our entire life is a process. It is not a one-time thing. It's not a treatment. It's not a fix. It's an everyday practice, stepping into that space through the tools that we have gathered. It is inside out, the change through therapy. As a therapist, I support my clients to become aware of their inner world. It is when we look at us being agents of change, my clients being agents of change, it really requires us to have an attitude of being lifelong learners. There is not a single day that we don't step up with a brand new surprise, and we have to step up with a change. And so growth mindset is really important. A lot of not because mental health has to do so much with emotions, which is a really big aspect. Everything is about vulnerability and being able to process emotions through our understanding of our inner world. There's also a lot of wisdom. So wise-hearted presence is what we need. Emotions bathed in wisdom. So emotional intelligence is a very important work that I introduce into my therapy. Definitely the mindfulness-based, trauma-informed. The biggest and most important thing is that my relationship with my client comes from a space of deep listening, non-judgmental, so that a safety is created where my client can safely enter the spaces of vulnerability to even open the little windows of growth. Mm-hmm. So that is how I look at therapy.
Okay. So Surabhi, when you talk about clients, so majorly what kind of target audience, what kind of clients you cater, what kind of problems you are solving? आपकी अगर मैं कहूँ एक्सपर्टीज या ज्यादातर जो केसेस हैं आप कौन से देखते हैं, आप कहाँ लोगों की सबसे ज्यादा मदद करते हैं?
So for the years that I worked, it was as a school psychologist. Mm-hmm. I also worked as a parent coach. Mm-hmm. And currently my clients that I'm working with are all ages, from teenagers to 60, 62-year-olds. But the majority of individual therapy that I am doing is catering to kids, young adults from, say, teens, 18 to 35-year-olds. And I see that as a very defining time of their life, because they are making some big decisions that have lifelong implications. So that is one of my really exciting age group to work with.
Okay.
I specialize a lot in children. Family coaching. I have been into families, but now with COVID, it is going to be online. I see myself, parent work. I call my parent work to be, again, wise-hearted parenting. And it is, yeah. So lot of psychological evaluations I have done all my career. So identifying learning problems, emotional diagnoses, but most of all looking at mental health as a, not just from a deficit based, कि कुछ break हो गया इसलिए fix करना है, but even to learn better ways of living so that we can tap our best potential self.
राइट. तो यहाँ पे एक और मैं सवाल आपसे पूछना चाहूंगा कि
Yes.
मेंटल हेल्थ के बारे में जब भी लोग सुनते हैं या बात करते हैं, सो पीपल कंसिडर इट गुड मेंटल हेल्थ with happiness, right?
Yes.
So what do you
Yes.
think, mental health is happiness or both are separate thing? What is your idea?
Beautiful. So how I look at emotional well-being / mental health is an inner sense of well-being.
Okay.
अगर हैप्पीनेस के बारे में सोचते हैं हम, तो कई बार उसको आउटसाइड वर्ल्ड से कनेक्ट करते हैं. अगर वो इंसान मेरी लाइफ में होगा, अगर ये जॉब मैं कर रहा हूँ या कर रही हूँ, या ये डिग्री मेरे पास है, या ये स्टेटस मेरे पास है, ये बिलोंगिंग्स हैं, तो या ये प्रॉब्लम अगर चली जाएगी तो मैं हैप्पी हो जाऊंगी. लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स आर ड्रिवन बाय आउटसाइड. नाउ दैट हैप्पीनेस वी नो, for all of us, that is not sustainable, and not even it's not worth putting our energy into. So the happiness that, or well-being is a better word I like to use,
Okay.
is a inside out process. It's an inner sense of well-being, which is through understanding of my emotional world, through development of certain tools, skill sets to meet life in ways that I am able to step into the space of how I need to meet. And what comes to my mind is the example when we talk of happiness is, कभी कभी स्ट्रेस साइकिल, एंड आई थिंक आप लोग सब शायद आइडेंटिफाई करेंगे, हम स्ट्रेस साइकिल से बाहर ही नहीं निकल पाते. एक चीज का स्ट्रेस खत्म होता है, दूसरा हो जाता है. सो वी आर कंटिन्यूअसली इन दैट हैमस्टर व्हील ऑफ स्ट्रेस non-stop. So when we don't break the stress cycle, there is a level of pessimism which is such as associated by external situations. ये तो permanent problems है, ये तो मेरी पूरी life में all pervasive है, every aspect of my life is impacted by it, or it is leaving me powerless, because my hope is कि वो situation बाहर वाली solve हो जाएगी तो मैं ठीक हो जाऊंगी, right? So turning that into a well-being state would be looking at it as something that is temporary, that is isolated to a certain aspect of my life. Suppose it is work. I don't need to have that impact in my family life, in my friends, in my other commitments. So it is sort of temporary, it's isolated, and I can put effort into it through the tools that I know I have gathered. I'm open to learning, so I can meet. So that stress cycle is terminated and a new problem arrives, and then I look at it in the same way rather than it just taking over my entire life. So that is sort of what happiness is to me. Sitting in the driver's seat, knowing that I can do it, believing in myself, and having that inner sense of well-being that is not shaken up by problems that the life will throw. So we do have that understanding that life is is a combination of pain and pleasure. That is life.
Right.
How we meet is where our well-being is very, it dictates a lot of our presence, of our sense of happiness.
Okay. So it means we can say, अगर आप हैप्पीनेस के अलावा कोई और इमोशन भी एक्सप्रेस कर रहे हैं, दैट इज परफेक्टली ओके. इट डजंट मीन दैट आपकी मेंटल हेल्थ खराब है या यू डू नॉट हैव
बिल्कुल.
गुड मेंटल हेल्थ. इट डजंट मीन, राइट? हैप्पीनेस
Absolutely.
comes under, it's a part of when we talk about mental well-being or mental health,
Yes.
or generally
Yes.
mental health is the lifestyle that you follow, right?
Absolutely. बिल्कुल सही बोल रहे हैं आप. एक चीज और ऐड करना चाहती थी कि जब हम इमोशनल वेलबींग को डेफिसिट पर्सपेक्टिव से नहीं देखते हैं, जैसे कि कुछ कम है हमारे में या ये प्रॉब्लम है या हम टूटे हुए हैं, I look at it as a continuum. So suppose 1 is when I'm doing great and I'm at the top of the world, and 10 like I'm completely not doing well. मैं बिल्कुल बहुत ही बुरी हालत है मेरी. वो जो 1 to 10 का continuum है, I think all of us fall somewhere in between there. हम mostly किधर होते हैं? शायद 5.5 to say 8. कोई problem आएगी, we may shift a little towards, being 8, 8.5. And hopefully not more than that. We have Counsel India and we have people like therapists who we can come to, or when we are doing great. So I don't want to, it is important that there are diagnoses. It's important there's anxiety disorder, depression. Yes, absolutely. There's a place for that and I'm not discarding that. But I want to remove that stigma so that we are all seeing ourselves in certain circumstances. When I find my resources depleting, I might go towards the end of the spectrum where I'm not feeling that great. So it's not that so and so is depressed, so and so is anxious. All of us on that spectrum can go either end, and we should know where to fall, what help to get, how I can help myself, and when I can't, I have ways of getting help. So less stigma, less deficit based.
Absolutely. Now I would like to move forward to the question related to the parenting, right?
Yes.
So what is parenting according to you, and why there is a need of parenting coach nowadays in the world? What is your idea?
Wow. सिंपल चीज जो मेरे दिमाग में आती है जब आप कहते हैं वाई पेरेंटिंग, तो मुझे बहुत साल पहले जब मैं मदर भी नहीं थी तो मुझे किसी ने कहा था कि अगर हम पेरेंट नहीं बनेंगे तो हम ह्यूमिलिटी नहीं आएगी. एंड दैट इज इट इज गॉड्स और द यूनिवर्स's design that through parenting we are prompted to grow and learn every minute of our life. So that is it's a mirror. Children are the mirror and we are constantly looking at ourselves through how can I learn to be a better, meet the moment in a better way. Why parent coaching? So what happens is that we are all relational beings. Contextual, हमारा हर चीज है in relation to a larger context. So when we grew up in early infancy and early childhood, we had certain quality of attachment with our parents, which what they knew best at that time. That has some defining presence in how we relate with the world as we meet the world as young and adults or adults in life. And there may be certain limitations, certain traumas, certain difficulties that we may encounter due to how we have experienced relationships in our life. And it is through that comes very much alive in parenting. And when we are parents, life is happening so fast. We are working, we are raising children, we are taking care of our parents and all other many things. In that, the stress doesn't get disrupted. We are also very fear driven. हमारे बच्चे अच्छा निकले, उनकी एजुकेशन अच्छी हो, वो अच्छे इंसान बने, उनमें कॉन्फिडेंस हो, उनकी अच्छी डिग्री हो, उनका अच्छा जॉब हो, उनके संस्कार वही हों जो हमारे हैं, कहीं वो हमको छोड़ के दूसरे संस्कार नहीं पकड़ ले. All that. So when we approach raising children through that fear-driven approach rather than an approach of abundance, connection, relationship, friendship, we do cultivate a kind of relationship that can introduce stress in our relationships. So why parent coaching? That is someone from a trained professional who, it doesn't mean that the parents are not doing their best. It doesn't mean that they are not wanting the best for their children. But sometimes learning the right ways can, little turns, little twist, little 1 degree shift can really make a big difference.
Right.
So why not, right? And so, that there is research based ideas, there is so much of scientific research, neuroscience, contemplative practices, um, relationship practices. We can reparent ourselves. We can look at, why am I triggered by this? How can I be a better person in this situation? So I see parents as emotional coaches, and that is my work with them. So they are able to look within their inner world, they are able to regulate themselves, then they are able to validate and acknowledge their child who feels safe to say, this is my problem. And then I'm able to emotion coach them. We cannot coach anybody unless they really trust us and they feel safe with us. So this is kind of like a rough introduction of my
Right.
wise-hearted parenting and family coaching.
I really like your idea. Why not? There are a lot of people who think that क्या अब हमें बच्चे पालने भी सीखने पड़ेंगे, right? Why not to
Yeah,
learn?
yeah,
Why not to learn?
yes,
See,
yes,
by learning, we'll add on something into it, right? We'll be able to
yes,
make it more, I mean, greater, best than before, better than before.
yes,
Then why not to
yes,
learn? Why not to learn? What is the harm in this?
बिल्कुल,
और आजकल
बिल्कुल,
ये बहुत कॉमन है कि पेरेंट और चाइल्ड के बीच में एक कम्युनिकेशन गैप आ रहा है,
yes,
राइट?
yes.
कुछ लोग कहते हैं ये जनरेशन गैप की वजह से है, या फिर इसके अलग अलग लोग रीजंस बताते हैं। तो सुरभि, मैं आपसे जानना चाहता हूँ कि व्हाट आर द मेजर चैलेंजेस जो पेरेंट और चाइल्ड के रिलेशन के बीच में जो प्रॉब्लम्स आ रही हैं, आपको क्या लगता है वो क्या मेजर प्रॉब्लम्स हैं?
So it's a very simple thing. I can, my shortcut answer would be that we get, all of us get into a space of fixed mindset. हमको आता है, हमने जो देखा है उसमें क्या खराब है, and so that fixed mindset से जब हम situation को देखते हैं तो बहुत fear driven होते हैं कि जो बातें मैंने बताई कि ये संस्कार अलग चूज करेंगे, इनकी चॉइसेस अलग होंगी, ये तो सब मॉडर्न को और सबको कंफ्यूज कर देते हैं. So when we do that, we lose track of what is the most important element in family life between parents and children is safe, psychological safety, relationship of fun, mistake friendly environment. कोई बात नहीं गलती हो गई, वापस स्टार्ट करेंगे. Connection is coming from respecting the individuality of each member of the family and then creating an interbeing. अगर हम each member broken है या कोई किसी का ज़्यादा, some are seen and heard for who they are, the others are not. There is so much underlying stress. In stress, we cannot connect. So the pure connection that generates psychological safety only comes from us all being whole people individually and then combining into an state of interbeing.
Right. See, I can relate to this point. When you say fixed mindset, मतलब पेरेंट्स जो हैं, अब देखो दुनिया में चीजें भी तो बहुत सारी बदल रही हैं. एवरी डे देयर आर न्यू थिंग्स कमिंग अप. पिछले 100 सालों में इतनी सारी चीजें बदली हैं. पहले मोबाइल फोन्स नहीं होते थे, टेक्नोलॉजी इतनी वास्ट नहीं थी, लाइफस्टाइल ड्रास्टिकली चेंज हुआ है. तो पेरेंट्स सोचते हैं कि जैसे हमने काम किया है, जो हमारे एक्सपीरियंसेस रहे हैं, उसी तरीके से काम हो सकता है. वो जो ओपननेस है पेरेंट के अंदर, वो बहुत बार डेवलप नहीं हो पाती है, ओपन टू एक्सेप्ट द न्यू आइडियाज, न्यू थिंग्स. क्योंकि अब पेरेंट ने बच्चे को स्टार्टिंग से ही रेज किया है, राइट? तो कहीं ना कहीं वो एक अथॉरिटी समझने लगते हैं बच्चे पे कि नहीं, जैसे मैं बोल रहा हूँ वो सही है, अभी ये तो लाइफ में आया है, ही और शी डजंट नो एनीथिंग। तो ये चीज भी कई बार हो जाती है, वो फिक्स्ड माइंडसेट जो आपने बोला है, पीपल आर नॉट ओपन फॉर न्यू थिंग्स।
Yes, yes, absolutely. Which, if we look at it from the lens of empathy and compassion, it is fear driven.
फियर
उनको
ड्रिवन।
डर लगता है. And the shortest path to reaching a point is कि it's easy, we know this. हम बड़े हैं, तुम छोटे हो, तुम हमको रिस्पेक्ट करोगे. जो हमने ऑलरेडी देखा है इतने जनरेशन से, वो सबसे फेमिलियर और इजी होता है. जो नया चीज होती है, जो नई, और उसमें जो गलतियां हैं, उससे जो प्रॉब्लम्स क्रिएट होती हैं, हम उसको ओवरलुक करना चाहते हैं, क्योंकि सेफ्टी लाइज इन नोइंग डूइंग द फेमिलियर थिंग. दैट्स ऑल. Everyone has their best interest in heart for their children. All parents do. They are also, for lack of a better word, they are also victims to how they were raised, right? So they had challenges when they were growing up. So I have deep respect for my parents who are in their 80s. जैसा आपने कहा 100 साल में दुनिया बदल गई. So where they started and where they are right now, they have seen a huge change. And they did the best that they knew at that time. And I do not think that blaming, questioning is a way to solution. It is through empathy. It is through trust. It is through compassion. It is through, my favorite word is psychological flexibility, growth mindset, wanting to learn more, taking new ideas. The other good term that I really, for my personal as well as others, is perspective. What's the big perspective? Taking into account all the factors when I'm operating, for which it brings me to the mindfulness aspect. I have to be aware. Why are they like that? What can I do to shed their defensiveness, their authoritarianness? So much goes at the same time. Mistake-friendly environment is one of the crux of my work with families. हम इतने घबराते हैं गलती करने से कि रिस्क ही नहीं लेते हैं, ग्रो नहीं करते हैं, नई चीजें नहीं सीखते हैं. बच्चे हमेशा डरे हुए रहते हैं, तो वो स्कूल इसलिए जाते हैं क्योंकि डर लग रहा है. तो अगर मिस्टेक फ्रेंडली ग्रोथ होएगी तो हम फीडबैक के लिए ओपन होंगे. बताओ मैंने क्या गलत किया, क्योंकि मुझे वहां से इम्प्रूव करना है. लेकिन जब फियर ड्रिवन होते हैं तो गलती को छुपाना, अपने आप को छुपाना, all that becomes very complicated.
Okay. So what are the possible solutions that you do in this case when there are certain
So
problems?
beautiful. So strategies have a place, but not a very prominent place in this process of change. It is more to do with the inside out approach. So raising children where they are raised to feel free to understand their inner world, their emotional world, their inner richness that each of us possess. Once we are, when we accept that, when children are allowed to explore that, they are able to enhance that inner beauty that each of us have, each of the children have, and to express it freely. बहुत सारे rules जब होते हैं for expression, it's very hard. So there is a lot of freedom to exchange who we are. We don't have a lot of rule-bound presence in families. We are playing, we are accessing nature. Nature is a really important aspect of who we are. I work with parents with the neuroscience background, where if our dominant presence is in our stress brain, then in that stress brain, we can only fight or run away or avoid certain things. But then how do I access my cognitive brain or the left prefrontal cortex, where lies curiosity, creativity, connection? So and how do parents step out of their stress brain through physical exercise, through laughter, through taking life lightly, not कि अगर ये हो गया तो हम तो सब खत्म हो जाएंगे. That approach. There is freedom to for each individual in the family to do things differently and then come and share with us. So there is a neuroscience approach which is to enhance your window of tolerance. जब विंडो ऑफ टॉलरेंस बहुत कम होती है तो हम रिएक्ट करते हैं, लड़ते हैं, अपने पॉइंट पे दिख जाते हैं, like that is it how it should be. As we expand our window of tolerance through growth, through learning, through a parent coach, or through sitting in silence, reflecting, creating a pause, there are all kinds of different ways of being that are introduced to the parents. The ultimate place that we want to get to is one of connection where there is not fear, because that is where we can actually freely explore, freely express, argue. Arguments are very beautiful. We learn about each other through that. So that's how I look at it. And family coaching is really, really a powerful way of approaching, individual growth and then a collective growth.
Right. बट सुरभि, आपको नहीं लगता कि बहुत बार पेरेंट कंसर्न है बच्चे की सिक्योरिटी के लिए, बच्चे को एक अच्छा ह्यूमन बीइंग ग्रो करने के लिए, so many times there are certain rules and regulations are also needed, right? So how a person gonna create a boundary between being in principles or giving freedom, when being free from the fear, according to you?
My favorite question, Bobby. So sustainability बहुत important है, right? अगर हम सही काम तभी करेंगे जब हमको हमारे पेरेंट्स देख रहे हैं या टीचर देख रहे हैं, तो उसका कोई मतलब नहीं है, correct? So how do we cultivate our young people to be internally motivated is where the key lies. Yeah. Now there are a lot of research on cultivating the emotional well-being of our children, where they are excited to do the right thing. They care about the greater good of the world. They care for a good community, a good family, a good friend circle. They care about not being shaken up like a leaf when life goes up and down. For that, what happens is that the key is a very loving relationship with parents, an organized, safe attachment that happens in early childhood through elementary school, where children develop, they don't have the need to dig their heel for being obstinate or arrogant. They can say, sure, हम ये खेलेंगे, तुमको ये खेलना है, no problem. Or, oh, पापा आप ये कह रहे हो, अभी कर दूंगा. So there is a sense of flow. And flow happens when there are no rules. If you can think of a state when you're doing something and you forget time, is how we want to see our children approaching academics, approaching social work, social connections, approaching helping out parents, approaching cleaning their room. Everything comes because they are joyous to be connecting with the larger purpose of the family through connection, safe connection.
राइट. सुरभि, आपकी जो ये बातें सुनकर मुझे ऐसा लग रहा है कि जितने भी पेरेंट्स को मैं अब तक जानता हूँ, सबको कुछ ना कुछ सबको और सीखने की जरूरत है. देयर इज स्कोप ऑफ इम्प्रूवमेंट एवरीवेयर. देखो, ये सर्टेन बाउंड्रीज, सिंपल क्वेश्चन, कितनी अच्छी बात आपने बताई कि अगर आपका बच्चा सिर्फ आपके सामने ही डिसिप्लिन और अच्छी चीजें कर रहा है, बाद में नहीं कर रहा है, तो यू नीड टू थिंक अबाउट इट. What kind of behavior being a parent you will be showing in front of a child. So that needs to learn. That is very subtle thing that need to learn, right? So that's how parent coach or parent counselors comes into the picture. Really nice. अगर जो भी parents इस talk show को देख रहे हैं, why don't you learn? Let's learn more about parenting. Let's learn more about child behavior. Let's learn more about how to tackle, how to respond, in a better manner with different behaviors. So that's really, really great. So, well, Surabhi, thank you so much for enlightening.
Absolutely, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you.
So I want to know from your end, what are the 3 things that you do to keep yourself mentally healthy and fit?
Well, I wouldn't say that I'm always mentally healthy and fit. It is an everyday process. कभी कभी जैसे जंक फूड खा के फिजिकल हेल्थ भी थोड़ी कॉम्प्रोमाइज हो जाती है, वैसे मेंटल हेल्थ भी हो जाती है, परंतु तीन चीजें अच्छा क्वेश्चन है. एक तो टू the connections that I create with my people, with my own self, and with the work I do is very fulfilling for me. So I connect with friends and family, gradually learning how to be in those relationships so they are not disappointed constantly. My expectations are not poor. So hanging out with friends where I trust, where there is good trust and good lot of fun. I connect with nature a lot. I'm a really big on my neuropsychology gets soothed immediately. It doesn't have to be jungle and woods and mountains. It can be plants. It can be any little thing that connects me to nature. And connecting to myself through lot of objection and impatience, I have finally realized that sitting in silence is very important. And when I'm faced with a situation, I always pause, I reflect, and then I respond. So that is the connection piece. And then physical exercise, whether it is yoga, pranayam, they all add to expanding my window of tolerance always. So any kind of physical movement in yoga is really beautiful. And creating opportunities to do creative things, whether it is cooking something new or doing any. Some people like to dance, some people like to paint, but just any creativity outlet also relaxes our presence. And just knowing that good for me is not where it stops. It is greater good. That is where well-being lies.
Correct.
So I remembered that.
You connect with people, you spend time with nature, and you sit in silence, you use creativity. So these are the certain things that keep you, mentally strong or keep you going. Very nice, really good. Surbi, any advice you would like to give to our audience? Any thought, anything you would like to share? Nutshell.
Let's join hands in approaching mental health work as a necessity, as something that we can all benefit from. We don't have to be super broken to do that, and not to engage in any belief system that brings stigma to mental health. So open growth mindset, lifelong learners, sitting in self-awareness and good friendship with others. So it's a work, and I'm also continuously learning, so I don't want to be preaching at all. From no place of me I can preach, but it is work in progress, and change is a process. So yes.
Okay, great. And few words about Council India. I know you will be back in some time in India. So definitely we're going to explore certain opportunities to work. So what are your thoughts about Council India?
I think it fits with my mindset, which I was talking to you about, that it should be, these services should be available to everybody, not just, of course, when we have a problem, but also because we want to tap into our best self, our highest potential self. So that when there are best psychologists that you all have, or best psychological tools and technology, let's keep the movement going.
Right. Okay. Perfect. So see, one thing, that vision is needed to to help people or to continuously have the growth in certain industry. और mental health industry में, इस profession में लोग जब आते हैं तो सबसे पहले help सोचते हैं, right?
Yes.
क्योंकि वो खुद ही अपने इतने सारे experiences से, अपनी life से इस तरीके के experiences उन्होंने लिए होते हैं कि वो चाहते हैं कि थोड़ा स्मूथ होनी चाहिए चीजें, लोगों के लिए थोड़ा और अच्छा हो. So there are many people who come into the mental health industry with this thought. और जरूरत भी है, बहुत ज्यादा नीड है कि लोग आगे आए, लोग सीखें, लोग एक्सपर्ट बने, लोग दूसरे लोगों की हेल्प करें, और उससे भी ज्यादा जरूरी है कि खुद ओपन रहें हेल्प के लिए.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Yes. And you know, why wait till something breaks, right? We just have to have the right tools, and those tools keep changing, keep refining, new ones come. So it is a lifelong journey, and let's not wait till things get to where they need to be fixed.
Right. Well, thank you so much, Surbi. Thank you so much for coming on the platform and share your thoughts about certain things, especially the parenting. And you're
Thank
doing
you.
really great work. Keep doing it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity, and lovely meeting everybody. Thanks.
So
Oh,
it was the talk show, right? So we had a discussion with, we had an interaction with Surbi. She is an mental health expert. Now, I would like to share something with you people. Few tips, because मैं पेरेंट नहीं हूँ, बट मेरे पेरेंट्स हैं, राइट? सो आई हैव वेरी गुड ऑब्जर्वेशन स्किल्स. सो आई वुड लाइक टू शेयर वन थिंग विद यू. अगर आप पेरेंट हैं तो आप एक चीज का ध्यान रखें. मेक अ एटमॉस्फेयर एट योर होम कि आपका जो बच्चा है, आपके जो चिल्ड्रन है, वो क्वेश्चन पूछ सकें आपसे. बहुत बार ऐसा होता है कि आपका बच्चा आपसे क्वेश्चन पूछ रहा है, सवाल पूछ रहा है, और आपके पास उसका जवाब नहीं है, तो आप उसको चुप करा देते हैं. आपको ऐसा नहीं करना चाहिए. आई थिंक आपको जहां से आप उस क्वेश्चन का आंसर सर्च करेंगे, वो सोर्स आप उनको बता सकते हैं, या आप उनको सिंपली ये बता सकते हैं कि इस क्वेश्चन का आंसर मुझे नहीं पता है, मैं मुझे गूगल से या फिर किसी एक्सपर्ट से या कहाँ से मुझे रिसर्च करके आपको बताना पड़ेगा. सिंपल ये चीज. क्योंकि क्वेश्चनिंग बच्चे की खत्म नहीं होनी चाहिए, क्योंकि बच्चा सवाल से ही तो सीख रहा है, उसके मन में बहुत सारे सवाल हैं, और आंसर लेने के लिए आप उनके पास एक एक्सपर्ट हैं, आप उनके पास पेरेंट हैं उनके. तो एक एटमॉस्फेयर ऐसा बनाएं कि घर में आपके जो बच्चे हैं वो आपसे सवाल इजीली पूछ सके, इतना कंफर्ट जोन वहां पे हो. तो ये एक tip from my side for you people. I hope you enjoyed this conversation, and if you have any question related to parenting, related to therapy, related to mental health, anything, write to us, ask your question directly. You can email us at info@counselindia.com, or you can fill the form that is there in the description, and here we can answer your questions. Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye bye. Take care.